Hi, in this video we will talk about using laws of exponents to simplify expressions with radical exponents. And when I say radical exponents, I mean that I have a fraction as an exponent. Now recall that we can always multiply things of like bases by simply adding their exponents. So if I ask you what's x squared times x cubed, you'd first look and notice that they have the same base, meaning that they're both x's, and then you'd tell me that is equal to x to the fifth. So when we multiply two things with like bases, we add their exponents. That has not changed. Here I'm multiplying 5 to the 3/4 times 5 to the 1/8. So I can multiply these by adding their exponents. I've got the same base, so this is going to be 5 to the 3/4 plus 1/8. But now my rules of fractions have not changed. I have to get a common denominator in order to add these. So first I'm going to find my common denominator. All right, so 3 to the 4th is actually equal to 6/8. Okay, so once I get my common denominator, so 3/4 is 6/8 plus 1/8, this is going to be equal to 5 to the, and now I can add 6/8 and 1/8 and get 7/8. Similarly, I can divide like bases the same way. Recall that I can always move something from the denominator to the numerator by changing the sign on the exponent. So now I'm going to multiply by 3 to the positive 1/8. Again, just like before, when I multiply things with like bases, I end up with the base and I add the two exponents. 5/8 plus 1/8 is going to give me 6/8. But I can reduce that further by pulling out a 2 out of the numerator and the denominator, so this is 3/4. So my answer would be 3 to the 3/4 power. Again, I'm just multiplying things by like bases by adding the exponents. Now recall if I raise a power to a power. So for example, if I have an x squared raised to the 3rd power, in this case I multiply. All right, so I say 2 times 3 is 6, so this is equal to x to the 6th. I'm going to do the same thing when my exponents are fractions. So this is going to be equal to 3 to the 2/9 times 3/5. Okay? All right, so I can do a little reduction here. 3 goes into 9 3 times, 3 goes into 3 once. And I see that this is going to be equal to 3 raised to the 2 over 15 power. So when I raise a power to a power, I multiply the two numbers, all right, just like we did before. But when I have the fractions, I've got to multiply my two fractions, okay? Last, if I have more than one thing in here, I'm going to multiply each of my item in parentheses by the power on top. So this is going to be a to the 2/3 times 4. Then all that is times b to the 5/8 times 4. Okay? So a becomes 2 times 4 is 8 divided by 3, so it's 8/3. And b becomes, can do some cancellation. 4 goes into 8 twice, 4 goes into 4 once, so b to the 5/2. So basically we've used our laws of exponents, which tell me when I multiply by two things with like bases, I add the exponents. When I raise a power to a power, I multiply the two to get my exponent. But now the only difference is I'm dealing with fractions as opposed to just integers.